Now, I have to say that a coalition is legitimate, but it's not what I'm offering Canadians. No, I'm offering a Liberal government made up of members elected based on a Liberal program to offer a clear alternative to this Conservative government. Now, we have to be clear about the alternatives. What I'm offering is a Liberal program, and I hope to win your trust through that.
Well, of course a coalition is legitimate. The Bloc's position has always been that it wouldn't be a part of any coalition. But we're not afraid of that label. We look at what's proposed, and if it's good for Quebec, we support it. If it's not, we oppose it. For example, in 2004, when Mr. Harper proposed an agreement with the NDP in a letter that we sent to the Governor-General, saying that if ever Mr. Martin lost the confidence of the House after the throne speech, well, there were other options available. Other options to an election, obviously, that would be choosing a different Prime Minister who, he would have to get the confidence of the majority of the House. Either with a throne speech or in a budget. There are very clear, established parliamentary rules, and we're very open to that as long as it is in keeping with Quebec's interests. My question for Mr. Ignatieff is, initially he had signed an agreement calling for a coalition with the NDP, between the NDP and the Liberal Party. It was signed, it was a firm commitment in November 2008. Subsequently, you changed your mind. I'd like to hear what he has to say about that, because what Mr. Harper was proposing at the time was not an economic statement. It was more of an ideological statement. There was no stimulus package in the November 14th budget or statement. So I'd like to know, why did you change your mind? And if it ever happened that one party didn't get a majority, so a minority government situation, what would we do then? Would we immediately have another election, or would the parties have to sit down and attempt to find common ground? And we would look at that, and as I said, if it was in Quebec's interests, we would always be willing to support it. If not, we wouldn't, of course.
Mr. Duceppe, what I'd like to offer Canadians is a clear choice. Now, that means a choice between a Liberal government, elected based on Liberal principles, and a Conservative government. Now, this is a democratic principle, to offer clear alternatives. What I accept in this question is that if Mr. Harper were to get more seats than we get, then he will try and form the government. Now, if I get more seats, then I will be the one trying to form a government. And in both cases, we'll try and get the confidence of the House. That's the rule of our Constitution. And I think, now he finds it difficult to do this, but I think I myself, I'll be able to work with you and with Mr. Layton, but not in the form of a coalition. I want to offer a clear alternative. If we want to replace the Harper government, then we have to choose a good Liberal government. It's a matter of principles. We have to be clear here in the choice that we are offering Canadians. And that's why I rejected the possibility of a coalition.
Well, of course. It takes the House's confidence, and in order to do that, of course, you have to understand other parties' positions. If the all-or-nothing attitude we've seen from Mr. Harper, well, that's obviously what triggers elections. But if there was an attitude that said, okay, we can agree on a certain number of things, that could be done in the way you're suggesting. It could also be done through a coalition. And that was the question that we were asked to answer. But I think we have to say very clearly that it would be legitimate. Mr. Harper says it's illegitimate. It might not be your choice, but it is legitimate. Mr. Harper, when he said that whoever comes second could never become Prime Minister, it's quite the opposite of what he wrote to Adrienne Clarkson in 2004. The words speak for themselves. It was clear. And Mr. Harper even took the trouble to meet with Ms. Clarkson to explain what we intended.